Firstly, we will be looking at the Canadian perspective. We were told that we would be sent over to Somalia to try and contain the rebellion. We aren't really too sure of what to expect. All we know is that we are not supposed to harm people. We are only here to keep the peace. Some of the United Nations soldiers that we've been working with have been captured and apparently tortured. I really don't understand how they expect us to be so peaceful when we're being hunted and killed. Some of the officers have been talking, and I overheard them saying that the Canadian Airborne Regiment failed to attract the best of the best in the Canadian forces. Also, I recently found a letter sent to one of the officers, which had some mind-blowing information in it. A part of the letter read, "Battalions would actually avoid sending their better candidates to the Canadian Airborne Regiment. Surely that can't be true." Or, there was another part of the letter that read, "Problems in discipline and adherence to regulations existed not only at the unit levels, but also at the most senior levels of the military, as they failed in correcting the regiment's internal problems and preventing them from leaving Canada. If this is true, they are setting us up to fail because we clearly weren't ready to be deployed." It's been ridiculous around here ever since we arrived here in Belatwain. The amount of thievery is reaching a dangerous level. It's getting bad recently. We're detaining trespassers and thieves on a nightly basis now. More than 50 incidents have been recorded now, but the problem hasn't subsided. One day, Major Seward had had enough. He ordered us to set a trap for the next Somali that tries to come and steal from us. Infiltration into our compound had reached unacceptable proportions. The rules of engagement, however, did not give clear directions on how to deal with thieves. So, after a Somali boy ran into our trap, he was taken to a holding bunker and the boys took turns watching him. Apparently the Somali fought back and the boys ended up killing him out of self-defense. I've heard it's being looked into, but I mean, how can you blame the lads? We're trying to successfully achieve a peacekeeping mission here, but even the media has been reporting that shooting incidents between the Somalis and UN forces has increased and it's becoming a routine action. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew just recently told us that the problem of thievery is being addressed by increasing security measures, but he told us anyone touching the fence around the compound should be shot at. I've got to be on my way now. It's my go to watch a prisoner. I'll see you guys around. The next perspective that we are going to be looking at is the Somali perspective. Our country has been ripped apart since the fall of the government. It's just turned into clan warfare. When the Canadians first arrived here in the town of Belatwain, it went smoothly. All of the gangs, at first, made themselves scarce. My town is about 80,000 people. We were well outside the famine zone. My people welcomed the US and Canadian militaries. But things are much different now. Roving gangs terrorize the country with weapons and interfere with food deliveries. Even the workers giving us food wanted the army to break up the gangs. The Somali people are starving. The army bases have enough food to feed our families, and this is why so many Somali people try to sneak into the bases to take food and other valuable resources. We are forced to sneak in because the food is being cut off, and for some reason the army won't willingly help us. A couple of days ago, a boy from our town named Shadane wandered into a Canadian camp at Balatwain. My people demanded to know what happened to the boy. The Canadians revealed his body, and they said he was shot and killed by the peacekeepers. It's clear these so-called peacekeepers did a lot more than just shoot the poor boy. These Canadians came to Somalia as part of a peacekeeping mission. Torturing and killing our people doesn't sound like peace to me. So much wrong has been done by the peacekeepers. At this point, I don't think they can make up for it. Lastly, we will be looking at the world's point of view. On the 16th of March, 1993, Shadana Rowan, a teenage Somali prisoner, was tortured and beaten to death by members of the Canadian Airborne Regiment serving in a peacekeeping mission in Somalia. This incident led to cover-ups, media saturation, court-martials, the disbandment of the Airborne, suicide attempts, resignations, and a full-scale government inquiry. However, the complete truth of what has become the worst scandal in the history of Canada's military has yet to come out. The Canadian Airborne Regiment stationed in Somalia ignored conventions against torture and inhumane treatment of people and the Geneva Conventions as shown in their conduct. The regiment violated, without exception, every provision of the sections designed to preserve and protect the life, dignity, and humanity of civilians in a combat zone. This was never more evident than when members of the regiment urinated in a water bottle and gave it to a dehydrated child. The murder of Shadain Arone is probably the most gruesome act of non-combat violence ever conducted and reported in the Canadian military. As a result of the ambiguity of these rules and increasing thievery, on March 16, 1993, Major Anthony Seward had had enough. The commanding officer ordered his platoon to set up a trap to capture an intruder and make an example of him. He told his men they could abuse prisoners. At approximately 9 p.m., 16-year-old Shadain Abukar Arone entered the Canadian compound at Beltwain. Major Seward's platoon chased him and caught Shadain, hiding and scared in a portable toilet. Shadain had not taken anything, nor had he attempted to take anything. But Shadain was bound in plastic handcuffs and taken to the command post, then transferred to a holding bunker. During routine questioning, Shadain claimed that he had entered through the gate looking for a lost child. Two soldiers, Matchy and Brown, got very drunk, and while it was Brown's turn to guard Shadain, both men began assaulting the boy with considerable evidence, which contained a video. Ironically, because of their abusive and undisciplined behavior demonstrated during pre-deployment exercises in Canada, the warrant officer in charge had recommended that Master Corporal Matchy and Corporal Brown be left behind in Canada. Upon examination, after 3¼ hours of torture, the airborne members had triumphantly killed a defenseless 16-year-old boy. What will forever be known as the Somalia Affair occurred in a regiment without leadership and discipline, and it occurred under the orders of a commanding officer. After presenting all 3 points of view, it's up to you to decide what point of view you guys think is correct.